Welcome to Tone Talks. 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 What up, y'all? This is Antonio Moore coming to you from Tone Talks. Appreciate you guys tuning in. We're gonna have a little bit of a discussion here. We're gonna have a discussion here. I've been telling y'all all week we're gonna talk about a little love matters here. You know, I got a special guest, Zoe Williams, one of my favorites. He gave me his CD recently, Love Matters Revealed. It just came out. It just came out like 2 weeks ago. Fire got me reevaluating stuff. That's gonna be the topic of the day, both his CD and his book. We're going to be talking about that. We're going to try to dig deeper, have a discussion about mature love. Mature love. What does that mean? You know, Zoe is a relationship counselor. He will talk to you about all kind of things that he's learned. But this CD, it digs so deep in terms of how we connect with one another. He also has his book, Relationship Dismount. How to stick the landing when exiting a toxic relationship. Are we ready to have this discussion today? Again, this is Tone Talks. You'll be able to have that discussion here on my channel. And we're going to keep it going, keep it on fire. Zoe is going to step in here in a second. So, the title of the CD is Love Matters Revealed. You can get it at IamZoeWilliams.com. But I want to tell you a little background on Zoe Williams. Zoe Williams is a self-published author, relationship coach, television and radio personality. You know, I just think that when we start digging deeper into some of the stuff that he has in this thing, it might make us reflect on ourselves. And we got to be ready to do that if we want to be in relationships. They recorded this thing in December at the Blue Suede Shoes recording studio. It's Zoe along with Dr. Berger, who's a PhD psychotherapist, had me listening to it on the plane, reevaluating how I approach things. And I felt like I needed to bring it to my audience. I needed to bring this thing to you so that you can evaluate yourself too. And this isn't just for people that are single. This is for people that are married, people that are dating, people that are trying to figure out whether they need to dismount or stay on that ride. You know, Zoe and Dr. Berger help you understand the dynamics of operating in romantic relationships, the effects of unreasonable expectations, the balancing act that occurs between togetherness and individuality. They help with all of that. So usually, as you guys know, I do this by questions, but what I want to do today is I want to do this by actual quotes. You know, like I said, I started listening on the plane to Louisville, and I found myself taking notes on my iPhone. I shared those notes on my Facebook, but what I want to do now is I want to go break that thing down. I want to break down some of the concepts in this thing and see if we can build together, see if we can grow together. I think so often in relationships, we just go with the status quo. We go with what we know. Well, I'm here to tell you what you know might not be enough. Again, you can go to I Am Zoe Williams to support this brother. He has his book, The Relationship Dismount. And then he also has the CD, Love Matters Revealed. 6 tracks of fire. Oh no, we got Zoe in the building. So I'm just introducing you. Thank you so much for coming into Tone Talks. You know, so as I said, I'm not going to do questions. I want you guys to call in 323-879-4445. Be part of the discussion. But as Zoe sets up, I want to go through some of the key quotes that I'm going to be going through as far as setting up the discussion. Number 1, relationship is a highly reflective classroom where the feedback you get from your partner is your personal curriculum. Oh, that's powerful. Zoe, how you doing?
I'm good, brother. Just waiting to get some headphones. What's up with your studio?
They setting it up. They setting it up. So number 2, I think she got to turn the mic on. Hold on till she gets back.
Yeah, we'll wait.
All right.
I see your quotes.
Number 2. These ain't my quotes though. This is all you.
What?
Yes.
All right, let's see what you got.
Your partner. We got to get his mic on, miss. Let's go. We got to get his mic on before it gets too fiery up in here. There you go. She
got me.
There you go. Oh, we gonna go through. I'm just giving you guys a couple of them. The call-in number is gonna be 323-879-4445. We can't solve your relationship. We definitely can help you grow in about an hour.
That's what we got. We got an hour.
We gonna break this thing down. I've already introduced your new CD. You want to tell everybody a little bit about what made you do this CD?
Oh man, Dr. Alan Berger. In terms of the CD, Dr. Allen was like, yo, Zoe, I've known Dr. Allen for a long time. I first met him at the Foxhole when I had a radio program over there called The Voice of Reason. It was on Sirius XM satellite. And I brought him in, and he loved our interactions so much that he was like, yo, come on, man, we got to work together more often. Now, what he does is he specializes in recovery. So a lot of people who are dealing with substance abuse, he's like a top tier recovery specialist. And he even sent some of the people that he worked with over to the radio show to intern so they could have something constructive to do. So we've had a relationship for a while. And then December 23rd, he was like, I'm booking the studio. We're going to go there. I've mapped out a structure. I just want you to answer the questions. And that's what created the Love Matters CD.
That's powerful. Powerful stuff, Zoe. I appreciate you coming on, showing my guests love. I appreciate you bringing this discussion to our table because it's so necessary. Some of these concepts people going to have problems with.
Why are they going to have problems?
Not too many people want to deal with that mirror called relationship. They want them outcomes.
Yeah.
So let's start off. I started reading some of these quotes. We're going to let people call in 323-879-4445. You can catch this show on Dash Radio at the Dash Talk app, but you also can catch it on my YouTube, Tonetalks. But what we're going to start off with is that first one, which is relationship is a highly reflective classroom where the feedback you get from your partner is your personal curriculum. Can you flesh out the concept of mirrors and self-growth in terms of relationships?
Well, in the church, they might call it reaping and sowing. So to reap is to sow and vice versa. So there is a mirror reflection or a mirror relationship in reaping and sowing. In relationships, I found it fascinating. I was reading a book called Relationship as a Mirror by philosopher J. Krishnamurti. And from his, angling of that, relationship is a mirror, I started to delve deeper. And then I found out the curriculum part is the very things that we get upset with our partners about. That is the curriculum. That reflection is the curriculum. Like, for instance, your trigger, right? Whatever your trigger is mirrored in your partner perfectly. It might be mirrored to their behavior. It might be mirrored to their communication style. And so, although it's uncomfortable and it doesn't feel good, it still fits you like a glove. It fits you like a reflection.
That's too powerful. I told everybody when I started listening, you gave it to me. I got it on the low, but it has touched. It was powerful. So it got to the point where I just was first sharing quotes, and the next thing I wanted to do was bring you on to kind of bounce some of these concepts off. Again, you can call 323-879-4445. Don't be scared that Zoe is going to break your relationship down. That's not what we're here for. We're here for a building session. Call in like you would for a politics show.
Right.
Because I want you to feel this show. I want you to grow with this show. The next thing that I picked up on was your partner is not a battery to power your weaknesses. I mean, I thought I've dealt with so many issues in regard to that, in terms of people telling me that you're negative, or, I don't want to hear about the things that are going on with me. What does that mean?
Well, again, misery loves company and misery needs fuel. So a lot of times we'll create a list of standards in order that misery and wounds and trauma in our lives get fed. So you see what I'm saying? So your partner is not a battery. So we'll use our partner as a battery to fuel the unresolved issues that we have experienced. From the unresolved issues, we produce what I call coping mechanism ideas. So I always tell women, don't date your ideas. Don't date your concepts. I tell men the same thing. But if your concepts and ideas have been born out of trauma, have been born out of disappointment, you tend to build coping mechanisms to have people date. Like, they're not dating you, they're dating the coping mechanism. And the coping mechanism comes with its own set of expectations. And when those expectations are not being met, then you get to be disappointed because that's not what you signed up for.
Let's bring this down to a real example. Can you tell me when somebody uses their partner as a battery for their weaknesses?
Oh, all the time. A lot of times, especially in the abandonment side of the game, if a person was abandoned by a parent, they tend to seek out what they didn't get from that parent. Do you see the mirror in that? I did not get this, so now I want this. I pursue this. Perfect example. Anybody who saw the I guess it was a YouTube ad, and you had Carrie Champion of ESPN driving LeBron James and Kevin Durant around in a car. And basically what LeBron was talking about in reference to his dad, he basically said, I needed to be the best dad I could be because my father, my biological father, wasn't there for me. That's a mirror. That's a mirror. You took what your father wasn't able to provide and you inverted it. Well, what is a reflection but the invert of what you actually look like? It's the reverse. You see?
Again, Dash Radio, press the Dash Talk app, support this show. You can go to tonetalks.org to support my show. Zoe Williams, I am Zoe Williams. And also call in 323-879-4445. Join the discussion. We're having a discussion about a deeper way to connect with mature love. We're not talking that love that come right off the high school gym. We're not talking that love that you find at the club and y'all married 2 weeks later. We talking that love that you got to dig deeper inside of yourself to connect with. I found out about a new concept, though.
Talk to me.
It's called love bombing.
Oh, yeah. You told me about this. I didn't know anything about it.
So I'm here in L.A., and I've talked to a number of young African-American women, relatively attractive, grew up with no pops. And them Ladera dudes be love bombing.
Oh, yeah.
What you do is you pull out that Thanksgiving dinner and them parents that have been married together 40 years, and you show this to this woman that didn't have a father, and you love bomb her that I want you to have my seat. But y'all just met a month ago.
Right.
And so, what you end up with is she crazy because she connected to this idea, this fantasy, this dream, this escape.
Right.
And have you ever heard of something like that going down, Zoe?
And again, to me, I just see it all very clearly in terms of the mirror effect, right? So you don't have your father, so now you're susceptible to being love bombed because all a person has to do is observe what you lack, then pretend to present what you've always desired.
Woo. See, and this is what's deep about it. It isn't always just conscious.
Right.
You have that subconscious where this is just what he do.
Right.
To women. He been doing this to women and he thinks this is love as well. So they two confused people in a pot shaking up together.
Right.
And then you have the conscious dude who does it actually as access.
Who actually seeks them out.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I believe for the most part, relationships are spiritual. We had this conversation before where we talked about how relationships are stratified in the world as one of two things, and that's either social or spiritual. But in reality, there are both. The spiritual is usually marginalized for the social. The social is pushed out front. I need to look right in front of my people. I need to pick the right person according to my people's beliefs, according to our family's religion, according to our family's wealth and status and all ethnicity, all of that. So the social game rules take precedent over the spiritual game rules. But every relationship you're in is a spiritual classroom that is designed to show you more about yourself. I call it the University of You.
Explain.
Right? Like, again, how many times have you dated a woman who chose you because you reminded her so much of her father? You're like my dad in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
I've met a lot of women where they saw something in me that reminded me or reminded her of him, you know, and I've met a couple of dads on that alone. You see what I'm saying? So again, when we talk about the University of You, the curriculum that you're getting back is biofeedback. In neurolinguistic programming, they will say if you have a disagreement with someone, a communicative disagreement with someone, the natural inclination is to say, oh, it's their fault. But the reality of it is you lack rapport with that person. And in lacking rapport, it is your responsibility to go back and find out what is the flaw in your communication style. You see, most people don't do that. Most people say, oh, these people are tripping, you know, get the hell out of here, you know. But it's really your curriculum. That's why this is the University of You.
Kevin Hughes, you just asked where can we get the book. I Am Zoe Williams is where you can get the book and the CD. You know, support Zoe Williams' show as well. It comes on right before mine's here on Dash Radio. But you know, what I'm trying to do right now is introduce my audience to the deeper side of Zoe. I've had him on 2 shows or 3 maybe, talking about, you know,
all kind of stuff.
Right. But I wanted you to be introduced to the Zen master of Zoe. Because, I mean, he will hit you across the head and then look at you and hand you a rose. I ain't never seen it. So, you know, this is one that really, before we go to break, I want you to kind of come to, because it connects with what you just said. Are you dating outcomes? You know, this came directly from the CD, and I believe what you're saying is on a date, on a first date, as a woman, are you looking across at your husband that could be, or are you looking across at Antonio for all of his imperfections and flaws and shortcomings and everything else? You know, is that what it is?
People don't want to date a shortcoming. People avoid shortcomings in others, but they fail to realize that if you are attracted to and have chemistry with a person, because everybody is flawed, but if you are attracted to and have chemistry with a person, you have just enrolled in the University of You. You in class now. But most people are looking for the social outcome as opposed to the spiritual development that is inherent in intimate relationships.
That's a lot of work there that you're talking about, right?
Yes. Most people think relationships are they're some kind of perk for life, and they are.
You know what? You know, part of what
It's
I
a
think
perk.
what has happened. Before we go to break, let's get that music set up. But like, what I think is part of what's happening is that people are going to school much longer. People ain't able to transition into home ownership, so they're just taking relationship as a fill-in, just like school and home.
Exactly.
And it has it's totally different. It's so much more organic. And then nobody has patience. Everybody wants that quick grits, instant relationship.
Right.
You can go watch that show. And, I want to come back to you after the commercial break. You can go to Dash Radio, press the Dash Talk app, and just share this. Let's get the discussion going. Call in 323-879-4445 to join the discussion.
Beats by Nevs.
So what's up, y'all? You here with Tonetalks? I appreciate you guys tuning in. I know I was away for a few weeks, so we're going to build it back up. But we having a discussion that I really wanted to have with Zoe Williams, relationship guru, who really breaks down like some of the deeper things that you may not even know is part of a relationship because you've been doing it in a very simple way your whole life. But I just wanted to bring him in. He did a great CD again with Dr. Berger, who's a PhD psychotherapist, and it's just so powerful. So what I've done is I've essentially pulled out different quotes from the CD, and I want to just go through it. Let's bring this caller in. Caller, what's your name? Where are you calling from? So nonetheless, what's going on is...
Hi.
Hello?
Oh, there.
Hi. Oh, okay. I wasn't sure it didn't beep or anything. Hi, this is Dawn. I'm calling from Atlanta.
Oh, thank you so much for calling in. We appreciate it. I love when the ATL call in. What's your take on this whole thing?
Well, my take is slightly different because I'm a parent of children in college, and my concern, so I'm listening to this because I'm looking at how do I teach my kids to find people to have meaningful relationships with. So I follow you and I follow Yvette. And so this is interesting to me because so my kids are not quite there, but I'm calling in because I'm looking for ways to enhance. So, by the way, so some of the older kids, I'm seeing that a lot of them are not getting married. So specifically in our church, when I tell you like the kids probably 5 or 6 years, they're all kind of like wandering around, not doing much, and they're not getting married. And so I actually see exactly what y'all are talking about is that people can't find the connections and they just don't seem to be happy. They can't find it in their career, they're in debt, and they're not finding it in their relationships. Let me
say this, and I'm gonna pass it to Zoe in a second. But one of the things that I pick up from Zoe's work is that you got to know you first. Mm-hmm. And I think what even what I hear you saying right now is we're dealing with someone else before we deal with the person in front of us. And I think that what has happened is technology, Instagram, selfies have made it so we didn't really build whole people. And now half people are trying to go out and find a whole piece of love.
The other piece, right?
Go ahead, Zoe.
So to build on that, you can't seek what you haven't seen. So to go out and seek meaningful relationships, first off, you wouldn't be able to recognize it unless you find meaning within yourself. And then when you find meaning within yourself, it's no longer a search. It's more gravity. You start to magnetize people into your life that are in alignment with the meaning you have discovered from within. So many people are in pursuit of external meaning. And this is why we have this young millennial group of people. They're not getting married, right? The millennials are not getting married because they don't see meaning in it, right? And these young people are more stimulation based. We've already seen the research on, cell phones and how it creates a space of narcissism. How narcissism is on the rise, and then all of a sudden ADD, people are not paying attention. You're on your phone at the date with somebody. Like they're really a disconnected group of people. So now they're in pursuit of stimulation over meaning. Meaning can only be extrapolated from within, you see. And unfortunately, that starts at home.
Let me add one more element to that too. We can't be race neutral. You gotta meet people where they're at and start analyzing where they are based on that. Black America has a severe wealth problem. Part of the reason that black young people aren't getting married is they are not financially stable.
They can't afford marriage.
They can't afford stability.
Right.
And so like what you see is a reflection of that in terms of I'm just going to hold off on mating. Instead of us getting together as a group and redefining mating.
Again, it's all about the ideas, right? It's all about the ideas. Now, an idea can either be a key or it could be the cell. But the only way to find out if the idea is a key or a cell is to have that idea challenged. How do we have our ideas and beliefs challenged in American society? There are many ways you can have your ideas and beliefs challenged at work. That's still a relationship. You can have your ideas and beliefs challenged at school. That's still a relationship. You can have your ideas and beliefs challenged at home. That's still a relationship. And then the next level is intimate relationships, which really put those ideas to the test.
So, caller, let me bring this home for you. Let me bring this home with a task for you. What do you do when your child comes home with a challenge in a relationship? Are you teaching them to confront that challenge, or are you giving them space to run from it?
Ooh.
So can you guys still hear me? So I will. Oh, am I still on air?
Yes, you are. You're here.
Oh, okay. Because I'm watching it also. So So that's a really great question. So I have a son and a daughter, and really, So the first thing I did was I said, based on what you see, what is it that you're looking for? Kind of what's your vision for your life? What are your goals? And I've always tried to teach them to make sure that who they pick, who they hang out with, and their behaviors in alignment with what they're trying to achieve in their life, and to make sure the people they bring into their life kind of help them move forward and they support that. So when they come with a challenge, I ask, is this kind of in alignment with what you've been taught and what you want in your life? Does this support? Does this take away, or does this support what you're looking to do? But I also have them look at themselves critically. Is there anything you're doing to kind of manifest that behavior? And so I do have a lot of conversations, but I will tell you, you were talking about social media. My children were not allowed to have Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook pages. They could not do social media until they graduated from high school, because I don't think kids are mature enough to have it. And they fought me. They hated it, but they didn't get into any fights. They didn't get into any bickering. It solved so many problems not having my children on social media when they were in high school.
Thank you so much. So look, caller,
that was big.
What we're gonna do is keep the discussion going. I appreciate you calling in.
No
Thank
problem.
you so much.
All right, bye.
Zoe.
So
Look, Zoe, hold on. I'm gonna come back to another quote that was in the book. I'm sorry, on the CD. The book is a whole nother level.
The book is a monster. Yeah.
Look, don't be scared. Call in 323-879-4445. And it's okay if you've been through something this week. We here to help. Nonetheless, the next concept that I had is mature love is about making your partner as important as you, not more and not less. This is the concept of individuality versus connectedness. And I just want you to flesh that out for people.
Again, if you're dating an agenda, you're going to be disappointed in your partner a lot, because with the agenda comes expectations, right? And if you don't live up to the expectation, now we cross over into this space that I call the volcano effect, which is tolerance, right? And tolerance has a silent timeline, right? I call it the volcano effect because a volcano is building up under pressure to the point where it can't handle it anymore and it pops off. That's what happens in relationships. So here we are tolerating someone who we've been expecting them to live up to some idea, agenda, or concept or outcome that we've placed on the relationship, right? I didn't sign up for this. Let me explain. You're not choosing anybody. That's your ego telling you, I'm choosing this person. I'm choosing to be with this person, or I'm choosing not to be with. That's your ego. Relationships work more like the house selection in the movie Harry Potter, where you put the hat on and the hat goes, based on your character, you're going to be in Gryffindor or you're going to be in Slytherin. Relationships work like that. You get around people who reflect you in some way.
So let me ask you a question to bring the data into the discussion. article comes out 4 days ago that in 2016, only one in every 5 black men or something like that were unemployed for all of 2016. 1 in 5.
Right.
So basically, we're talking about like social collapse between that and incarceration. So
again,
how's the hat gonna fit?
Again, if you have a sister today that's doing well, that's educated and upwardly mobile, and she doesn't know those stats, she's disconnected from the social game rules of the society in which she lives in. So now she's blaming the person as opposed to the system.
So I can't just put down a list of a 6'4" surgeon, went to Harvard, and came from Ladera from a family that's married for 40 years.
You can't do that because at the end of the day, he's still an American with American views. And a 6'4" black man out of Harvard, single, doctor, has a list. He has a line of women. He has options.
I go further. You don't want him.
How about it?
He comes up to you with a rose and says, I like you, but you gonna have to do this work.
Boom. Boom. I got options. I got choices. I could do what I want to do. I'm not pliable anymore.
So we are digging so deep here. 323-879-4445. Call in, join the discussion. Tone Talks, YouTube. We're back. I'll be here every Friday. I know I've been gone for a couple weeks. Right. So look, one of the things that you said is where there is fear, love cannot exist, Dick Gregory. But then you added fear leads to control, and where you try to control everything in a relationship, fear becomes your personal advisor.
Oh yeah.
What is this whole thing with fear? Because I think so many of us coming from slavery, Jim Crow, single parent households, we fear being what we already are.
Right.
And so we running in there on a treadmill, trying to speed it up. You know how you press faster? And
right.
You still on the treadmill.
Right. In the Relationship Dismount book, chapter 7, we talk about the question is, who is your personal advisor? And the things that we've gone through, how many times have you talked to a sister or a brother, and because they've gone through a negative situation, they begin to stereotype people that they meet?
Absolutely.
You know, just if something is remotely familiar to a negative situation they had, they will say, oh, that's who that person is.
They're not going to be hurt no more.
No, yeah. I'm not finna get played again. In the book, The Relationship Dismount, chapter 7, I talk about how those negative situations elevate something I call FIGO into an advisory position in your life. FIGO is a play on words, of course, fear and ego. So FIGO gets elevated to the advisory role. And now you're anxious because things look like it could go bad. Things look like the thing you've gone through already. If something looks like something you've already gone through, 9 times out of 10, you haven't healed from that thing.
We got a couple hundred people in the chat. We got thousands of people listening. Call in 323-879-4445. Join this discussion. Let's keep building. And even if you don't join, please share the video and so that we can get this discussion spread as wide as possible. I'm gonna ask you one more thing before we go back to break, and that is, I'm looking at the book and I found this section, and
in the book,
yeah. Actually, this came from the CD again.
Okay.
And CD section 5, I think. You know how many people run to, and this is a quote, you know how many people run to the highly reflective spiritual classroom of relationships as a means of hiding from themselves.
Oh, yeah.
You can't hide in a fun house. Mirrors are all around you.
Oh, yeah.
You can't hide in a relationship because the mirror is reflecting you.
Oh, no question. A lot of times, what is that old saying? You want to get over somebody, you get into a relationship. And that's the worst thing you can do. getting over somebody. Let me find somebody new to be with. At the end of the day, no matter where you go, there you are, and you can't preempt that course you're in. You're going to get the lesson. It is designed for you to grow. And the way we grow is through the vehicle of relationships. Now watch this. In my next book, I'm talking about not only the mirror effect of relationship, but I'm also talking about the holographic aspect of relationships.
Explain the difference.
So with a hologram, just to make it really simple, when you create a hologram, you use lasers, mirrors, and whatever object. But the moment the laser hits the holographic film, it creates an interference pattern that looks like ripples in a pond.
We got another caller. Let me bring this person in.
Right? You don't want me to finish this one? All right.
I want to make sure that we. I'm gonna let you finish right now. Caller, what is your name? Where are you calling from?
So my name's Rod.
Thanks, Rod, for calling. Let me let Zoe finish the hologram. I just wanted to get you online. So finish the hologram.
To make it really quick, what they found in the holographic film is that, say it's an apple or a book that was hit by the lasers. You flash a light on that holographic film, you'll see a 3D image of an apple.
Wow.
But what they figured out is they can cut that film into 1 billion pieces, but every piece has the full image of the apple, which means the image is not local. It's non-local. It's all over. But this is how it applies to relationship. We think we can compartmentalize hurt, put on a mask, and jump into a relationship as a representative or an idealized version of ourselves. But in actuality, that whole image of what you've been through is still all over you, just like that holographic film.
Oh my God. Like that sticky icky.
It's on you. And this information has to be reconciled.
So caller, let's bring you in. What did you want to say on this topic?
All right, so first off, man, I'm going to start off by saying y'all boys dropping some hot knowledge tonight, man.
Oh yeah,
Appreciate you, man.
We digging deeper. We going past telling her she got caramel brown eyes on the first date so you can smash. We trying to dig past that and actually dig with go into the larger concept of how should we be connecting with each other as grown people. So tell me your opinion on this, because the lines are lit now. All of a sudden,
I had a question about the first topic that you brought up, man.
Go ahead.
So as far as the mirror goes, how do you know when you're getting reflection back, or if it's just time to call it quits? Like, how do you know if there's still lessons in there to be learned?
Well, you're going to always be getting reflections. But the lesson is things that you're in control of. When you get a reflection back and it's something you've fallen short on inside, internally. Like, for instance, you're always arguing with somebody, but you're now aware of the fact that the reason you argue with this person is not necessarily because of them. They might be in response to you. They might be in reaction to you, but it might be your communication style. Say, I've created this conflict because my style is avoidant. And we all know if you have an avoidant communication style, you're going to create more conflict because you're avoiding the moment or the opportunity to have a real discussion. You see what I'm saying?
Caller, thank you so much for calling in. We're going to take the next caller. Lines are lit.
This is crazy.
Sure.
Yeah. Here we go. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, you got to turn your background down, though.
Okay. Hey, listen. I think relationship situation won't change until the income changes for everybody. I truly believe a minimum wage of $15. I mean, once you get that minimum wage where each individual can have independent living on their own, then they won't feel the pressure or the concerns about if I go with this person and they don't work right, they got to start over in my life and lose everything. If each person knows they're secure in their own economics, wouldn't they be more willing to share with somebody?
Let me say this. Caller. I think that wealth is a major component of love, but it ain't the heartbeat of it. And so what I say to you, caller, is that what you are setting up is a convenience store model of relating.
A transactional one, an
And it's
ATM one.
Yeah, it's not a transaction. What's happening now is that we're unfolding the things that tie together even our parents' relationships that might not have been all that greatly binded. One of the myths of Black America is that the boomer relationships were great. Don't get me wrong, some of them were, but a lot of them weren't. They were very transactional. What we have as access of having the internet and everything else is that we have the power to grow and actually have deeper relationships that connect us based on things that go beyond transaction. Now, do I think it's important to be stable? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But do I think it's the most important part? No.
Right. I mean, because
Okay.
take Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee and his wife. They struggled. They struggled mightily. After Kato. Remember Kato? They struggled mightily after that. Bruce Lee had to deal with racism. He wrote a television show that turns into Kung Fu. But because at that time in the 70s, hey, we don't want a Chinese man to lead a television show that's going to be on a major American network. We don't want that. So they got David Carradine, a white man, to be a Shaolin monk in the television show Kung Fu that was written for Bruce Lee. It wasn't until Bruce Lee went back to China and got his first major movie deal there that he was able to live somewhat comfortably. But for the most part, from the 60s, almost a decade, he struggled.
Look, Zoe, I got a Black audience. They don't know nothing about no Bruce Lee, but we gonna bring it to good times.
Bring it to good times then.
Remember when they got rid of James Evans?
Yeah.
So this brother in the last call seemed like he was speaking to this imagery of the unstable Black family and what is left behind. Do we, I'm gonna bring the next caller in, but I'm gonna ask you a question. Caller, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Tone, Reggie from Boston.
My boy Reg. Hey, hold on. Let me ask this question to him, and then I'm gonna let you chime in too, Reg. We three brothers at the bar having a discussion.
Let's go, Reg.
So,
what up, Zoe?
Post good times, post waiting to exhale. Is there a cast imagery of being a hurt Black female that's making it hard to have these connections that you're talking about? Is there also a cast image of the baby boy, as we saw in John Singleton's movie, where young men want to stay young forever?
Wow, that's heavy.
Yeah, we got him.
Jeez,
let me get out the camera angle.
That's heavy. I'll just say this. If we're going to have true love, we have to break up with the stereotypes that are authored by other people about us. Those stereotypes about us that are authored by other people, we got to break up with that, right? And then we have to go through our relationship standards and ask the question, did I author this or did society author this standard for me? Right? So most people don't even listen. Most people do not put their relationship beliefs on trial. They don't do that, right? It's the relationship that puts the relationship belief on trial for them. And a lot of times most people don't even know that it's their beliefs that are on trial and not themselves. They'll take it as, man, this was just a bad person. No, how you view them, your standards that you created, where did the standards come from? Under what circumstances did you create this? Most people don't take any responsibility for what they experience in relationship.
Reg, come on with it. I know you always have that fire. You can speak to what I just talked about or whatever you want to, one or the other.
No, I mean, I totally agree. Just in reference, to your question, I totally agree, with Zoe that we really have to get away from the stereotypes that we have of each other and even the expectations that the media puts out to where, the Black woman's supposed to move like this and the Black man supposed to move like that. We really need to understand that they put these images out there and then the system is set in opposition to that.
Mm-hmm.
So you have the Jay-Z's and the LeBrons and the T'Challas And then in reality, 1 out of 5 black men ain't working.
Yeah, they didn't even
And
work
then-
last year. You're right. You're right, Reg.
Exactly.
We got the lines lit. I think. Do we have another? If we have another caller, I'm gonna keep it rolling, Reg. I know you got your opinion in there. We trying to get in here before the closeout. Thank you so much for calling.
All right, Reg.
Thank you, Zoe. Thank you, Zoe.
What
Yes,
I
sir.
want to do again is say, go to Dash Radio and support the Dash Radio app, even beyond my show. Press Dash Talk when you can. It's great discussion always. Zoe Williams' show comes on before mine's, and he has a whole bunch of women in there, and just going at topics and breaking it down. You know, I've had Tiffany Ram on my show a couple of times. She's actually a co-host on his show. So it's phenomenal discussions that go on. Before I go to the caller, what's your name? Where are you calling from? Hello? Before I go to the caller, what I want to do is bring this quote to you, Zoe.
Mm-hmm.
Are you having, this comes from your CD again, are you having a relationship with the efficiency of your partner's ability to deliver on the outcomes of your expectations, or are you in a relationship with their individuality? When you're in a relationship with their individuality, you have ascended to a higher level of relating called acceptance. I almost fell out my chair when I heard that.
That's because you are in relationship with who they are, and not what they do, and not what they provide, and not you get what I'm saying? Like,
no, I do. I mean, what's funny is we got all of we got too much relationship information from Steve Harvey's weird little book. And,
right.
And it really, I think a lot of us don't understand we're approaching adult relationships like we're still on a schoolyard.
It's that, but it's also, like, for instance, ideas are very difficult to evolve, especially philosophical ones, right? When it's science, when it's math, it takes a generation for the people who believe differently to die, and then the new knowledge comes in. But when it's philosophical, when it's subjective, you know, relationship beliefs change in geological time. Just takes a long time for people to get it. At the end of the day, we live in a capitalist society where wealth is calcified. So if you have any financial goals for your man and you don't know his status,
yeah, where his family comes from, the fact that we come from slaves, the fact that they just came out with an article on Vice.com. I shared it with you, Zoe, that they still had slaves in 1960s.
right?
In the 60s.
That they just didn't tell about. They didn't tell them.
Now, you might be dating somebody who's related to this family that had slaves in the 60s, and you're expecting him to have outcomes like he's a Trump.
But that's so hurtful right there. But then you flip it again. What other currencies exist in that man that you can't see because you're looking for a specific kind of currency?
Meaning you're looking for money and not love.
You're looking for money and not character. You're looking for resources and not integrity. You're looking for provisions and not empathy. Communication IQ, and intelligence IQ. These are all currencies in relationship that get overlooked by the currency in your wallet.
We in here on fire, 323-879-4445 to be part of this discussion. I think one of the things that two things that happened to Black America is crack and hip hop. And when I say those two things, they inverted the very idea of what a mature man was supposed to look like and be.
Wow.
To the point where now our down is up and our up is down.
Right.
And I think that everybody looks at Jay-Z, but do you really listen to him?
No.
Everybody looks at Jay-Z, but do you really listen to him? And when I say that, I mean, would you want that man to be the man that you roll over to and talk to in the middle of the night?
But a mirror can only be looked in once you place it on the wall. So who placed him on the wall to be our reflection?
Let me give you one more of your own then. This is a quote from Zoe CD that fits nicely into this. There's no perfect partner, but there's a perfect mirror. You get where you are.
You get where you are.
So I did, you out, Zoe, on a first date or a second date, and you hearing a young lady tell you about her ex, not just a random date, her ex, and how he wasn't always organized.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't that smart.
Mm-hmm.
He was.
Mm-hmm.
Does she understand that she got where she was?
Does she understand that she chose him?
Oh.
Does she understand that she magnetized him, that she brought him into her life?
For some reason or another.
For some reason. Like, whenever I hear the unidirectional blame, I know I'm dealing with a child, right? And when I say a child, I don't mean chronologically, I mean spiritually. I mean maturity-wise, I'm dealing with a child, wherever there is unidirectional blame, right? When a person can say, I magnetize this person because I'm arrogant, because I condescend, because I think I'm an elitist intellectually. Now you're taking responsibility for co-creating the relationship experience you are participating in. Not that's happening to you, but something that you are co-creating as you go along. When you're able to do that, you're able to change the experience.
I mean, look again, please go to IamZoeWilliams.com. Support this brother and get his CD. I think it's a monumental piece. You should really join you guys should have little clubs, you do book clubs, do a listening club around the CD, and just build with each other, men and women, and build and grow and go through some of these notes and figure out, are we doing this right?
It's one of those things.
It's that important in your life.
Yeah.
We learn to make homes and school and all these things important, but we forgot love somehow.
We're going to have to learn how to relate in the absence of wealth. We really gonna. That's what these tools are for. You got to learn how to relate in the absence of wealth.
So I can't take that picture in front of the blue sign. Is it Maestro's? Everybody got that picture with the little waterfall over in Beverly Hills.
I see you.
I'm just saying. So I got one more quote from your book.
Mm-hmm.
This is the last one. Just as important as the rest. I want y'all to hear this. The person that holds on to unforgiveness through the mechanism of entitlement is the least worthy person to be in an intimate relationship. The person who is willing to ask for forgiveness has earned the right to relate. One of the adjustments at close range is giving up being right. You have to separate the desire to prove yourself right from actually being wrong.
Look at that.
I mean,
so Dr. Mark Goulston, who used to co-host my show, is the one who actually said that, you're not worthy to be in a relationship if you have a sense of entitlement, like you're owed forgiveness. You're not worthy. It was Dr. Goulston who said that, and he said the person who is willing to forgive and willing to ask for forgiveness and actively seeks to be forgiven, that's a person who's worthy to be in a relationship. And it's true. I mean, to err is human, to forgive is divine. And most people can't even be human in a relationship because the moment you cross us or the moment you let us down or don't deliver on the outcome that we want, we feel like you're not the person. And that is your lesson in that moment. That is your mirror.
So say that last part again. The moment
I forgot.
Oh, you said you're not the person?
You're not the person.
Because you didn't deliver?
Because you didn't deliver.
Oh, I think I just went through that.
That's what it is.
Oh, so look.
You're the delivery man. You're not.
So look, we're closing out the show. I appreciate everybody tuning in to Tone Talks and actually taking part in this discussion. I'm glad the line started lighting up. I understand this is a deeper conversation and everybody's reflecting on what was said. I done listened to the CD 3 times already.
Wow.
So
thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
And so what I want to give Zoe a chance to do is tell us about where they can get the CD and about your show, and then I'll close out.
All right. The CD is available at IamZoeWilliams.com. This is the only place you can get it from, I think. IamZoeWilliams.com. CD Baby, if you want the digital copy, CD Baby. And then the book is available at Amazon.com.
What's
Kindle
the title
version
again?
and paperback. The book is called The Relationship Dismount: How to Stick the Landing When Exiting a Toxic Relationship.
And what's the book about? Just a little bit.
The book is a workbook, a relationship workbook. 12 chapters. At the end of every chapter, there are activities and exercises. You can't move to the next chapter until you finish the exercises. And it's a breakup, wake up, and make up book.
This is my book. It's all, look how I've done been opening it, closing it. This is a powerful discussion. What I want to do now is close out. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Please support this channel, Tonetalks.org. Use the super chat. Keep the dialogue going. Let's keep building. I want to be able to bring you these discussions weekly so that we all could grow together. Tone Talks out. Thank you for tuning in to Tone Talks.